Okay guys, so welcome to another exciting video from Pycoders Academy Python 4 course video from Pycoders Academy. So in our previous video, we were looking at a project on regular expressions where we did a simple project to do that for us. So like extracting emails from a bulk, let's say group of data. Yeah. So that's what we did in our previous video. So you can just check at the suggestion video section to look at the previous video. Okay, so today we'll be looking at the try and accept blocks. So as I said in the previous video, that's what we'll be doing in this video. Okay, so just sit tight and watch this video. Okay, so actually the try and accept block is very important in Python because of it. Let's say maybe you want to skip some errors when you encounter them, you just use the try and accept block. It's very important in Python, so you just pay it to this video and yeah, it shall be all in Python. Okay, so first we will look at some basic errors we encounter in Python, then we will just move on how to use the try and accept block. Okay, so let's move on to the errors. Okay, so let's start with these errors. So these are the basic errors we have in Python, but aside this there are a lot of them out there. Okay, so we'll be looking at these basic principles, and we will look at how to use the try and accept block to work around these errors. Okay, so the first error is the zero division error. So the zero division error, as the name suggests, is used like gives it's being shown when a number is divided by 0. So let's say I have print 1 divided by 0. Okay, so when I have this, I'm getting a zero division error because I've divided by 0. Okay, so the zero division error is encountered when you divide any number by 0. Okay, so that's the zero division error. Move on to the index error. So the index error is an error we encounter when you want to, let's say, get an index which is outside the list. So let's say I have a list which is equal to 1 2 3. You know, like the last index, which is the 3, is at index of 2, but let's say I want to get an index 3 of this list. We just do, let's say, print, then I'll say list, and I'll say 3. Okay, so when I do this, okay, I'm getting an index error because the list index out of range, so the index is out of this range. Okay, so when you are collecting an index which is out of this, out of a list, then you get the index error. Okay, so now we move on to the type error. So the type error is encountered when you are working with two different data types. Okay, so let's say I have let me put this as a string here, string, then I will say I will just subtract 2 from how are you. Okay, so I will subtract 2 from or I will subtract how are you from 2. So how are you, how are you. Okay, so let's say I have 2 minus how are you. Let's say I'm printing the string here, so print string here. Now let's see what I'm getting. Okay, so unsupported operand type for int and string. Okay, so that's a type error. So an example of type error is what we have done here. So when you have two data types you are working with, you are probably, or you are sure to get a type error message. Okay, so that's that for zero division error, index error, and type error. Move on to the syntax error. Okay, so the syntax error is what we see normally every day. So it's just let's say a wrong syntax we wrote. So let's look at a simple while loop here. So let's say I have x equals 2 here, then I want to create a while loop using this condition. I just do, then I will intentionally do a double L here, then I'll say while true, print. Okay, print yes. Now let's run this code and see. So as you can see, I have a syntax error, so invalid syntax. So this is an example of an error, which is like when you have an invalid syntax here. So you can also work around this also, then see what you can do. Now move on to the value error. Okay, so value error is when you have a different value to, let's say, convert to a different data type. So let's say I have x here, which is dog. Then I want to find the int of this dog. Okay, so let's try it. Now I would like to print the x out and see. Okay, so as you can see, I have a value error here, so which is saying invalid literal for int with base 10. Okay, so we can convert the dog to an integer, so that's a value error. Okay, so we have looked at this error, and yeah, so we know there are like a lot of errors, but these are the basic ones we'll be treating in this video. So we have the zero division error, index error, type error, syntax error, and value error. Okay, so let's look at the try and except block. Okay, so the try and except block is much like the conditional statement. So I have an if statement, then I have an else statement, which is all a two block in one section. So it's the same way. So if you want to use the try and except block, you just write. So for try, you just write try, then your semicolon will come, then I'll pass, then I'll write except here. So it's used in the same way as the uh, let's say as the conditional statement, but in the except block you have to pass an error. So depending on the error you want to work around it, so you just pass it here. So as we have here, so I can write zero division error, so as you can see. So now let's say I want to just print this, so print 1 divided by 0. Okay, now let's say I want to work around it, then I'll say print. So if it meets this error, what should you do? Just do print number divided by 0, but divided by 0. Okay, so now let's run this code and see. Okay, so you can see we are not getting a warning error here. We are getting number divided by 0. So this is a very good feature in Python. This is the try and except block. So you just write your try here with a semicolon, then your code comes, then your except block comes, which include the error. You can also ignore the error here, so but it will just let's say run when you encounter any error. So let's run this code and see. Okay, so you can see number divided by 0, but it's not encouraged in Python, so you have to pass the error inside the except block. Okay, so I can pass more errors here, so I can do zero division error. I can do so with a comma, so you bring a comma, or yeah, bring a comma, then you bring value error, so value error. Okay, sorry, so value error. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I think it's this way. So what you have to do is when you want to pass one or more errors in the except block, you just bring parentheses and put the errors inside it, separated by commas. Okay, so let's say I have two errors I want to deal with. So I want to print 1 over 0, then also convert let's say x equals, convert a dog into an int, so dog. Okay, now I want to print x. Okay, so now let's run this code and see. Okay, so you can see number divided by 0. Okay, so when I have these two errors, what should we do? We can also have let's say another one like this. So okay, so I can also rename the error. So let's say I want to print as let's say I want to print out the error but in a small fashion. So let's say I will change the name to a short format for me to be use it in the except block. So I'll change it to ZD. Okay, now what I will do is just print ZD. Okay, so okay, now let me ZD. Okay, now let's run this code and see. Okay, so you can see division by 0. So when I reformat the name of the error as ZD, I can just print the error out using the formatted word, which is ZD. Then I'll print that word, I'll print that formatted let's say word I used. Then I'll just get the division by 0 here. I can also try type error. So let's say type error. Okay, now I'll just do uh 2 minus dog. So 2 minus dog here. Now okay, so it should be, this shouldn't be, so type. Okay, type. Okay, so the type error starts from a capital T. So capital T, then the error comes. Okay, so now I'll just remove this. Now let's run this code and see. So you can see unsupported operand type for int and string. So this is the error here. So I just reformatted the name, then I just printed it out. So I won't get that red statement you normally see when you have those errors. So okay, so when you want to work around some errors in Python, you just use a try and except block for that. So you just write your try, then your code comes, then the except comes. So the except will be the block which contains your error name or your errors. You can also format it as let's say a letter or a word, then you just print it out. So that's that for the try and except block in Python. In the next video we will look at a short project on the try and except block to, yeah, that's all for this video. Okay, so thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel and like this video.